When Halo Infinite released, speedrunners absolutely destroyed the game. The Halo Runs Discord, myself, and many other members of the Halo community set out to find all these amazing strategies and find out what could you do on Halo Infinite. In today's video, I'm gonna go through exactly how speedrunners absolutely destroyed Halo Infinite, so much so that 343 Industries had to patch a lot of the stuff that was discovered. Today we're covering Invincibility, sequence breaking to the end of the game, teleporting your character from one side of the map to the other, fusion coil launching, chopper launching, and even flying a pelican. So let's get into it. Now, the Halo Infinite campaign, when it first came out, it was like a speedrunner's paradise. There were so many tricks to discover. From the very first mission, you could punch this wall and skip all the way to the end of the level. You could throw down a fusion coil and completely bypass half the end of the level, and that was before you even got to the ring. When you got onto Zeta Halo, you could get Invincibility, you could fly pelicans. There was so many things to discover that the any percent run on Halo Infinite got a completely new route multiple times in the first month of the game. Now, the first route that was discovered, as I showed on the first mission, would allow you to punch this door, and then once you get to the end of the level, you can fly all the way across the ravine. In the second mission, you utilized the grapple hook, and you saw very quickly throughout the entire level, once again utilizing the fusion coil launch to bypass a large section of the level. The fusion coil launch works by standing on top of a fusion coil, jumping, and having the metallic bottom launch straight up into your character. You will pick up the fusion coil again so you can reuse it, and it'll send you flying across the map. More on this later. Once you reach Zeta Halo, this is where the routes differed a bit, but each time a speedrunner would have to get a certain amount of Spartan cores. These Spartan cores were used for upgrading your grapple hook, and in the full run campaign, you can get extra shields, you can upgrade your equipment. It's all about making Master Chief stronger. For the purpose of this speedrun, for both routes that I'm showing, the grapple hook upgrade was the most important. So as you would start your story on the ring, speedrunners would beeline the amount of cores required to upgrade the grapple hook for its ground pound function, and this brings us to the second technique of the video, breaking through walls. The grapple hook on Halo Infinite is incredibly versatile, and by upgrading it to have its ground pound functionality, it allowed you to break through geometry, and often this allowed you to get through walls and doors that weren't currently yet available. This was very handy towards the end of the game, as it allowed you to break out of bounds and bypass a majority of the missions. So keep this in mind. So our speedrunner has made it to Zeta Halo. He has gotten all the Spartan cores he needed. This is where the routes differ. In the old route, you would get the Invincibility glitch. On the third mission of Zeta Halo's ring, you visit a mining laser, and speedrunners discovered that if you run into the laser and quickly fast travel, instead of it killing you, it would put you in a zombie-like state. You were invulnerable, you could not die, and it allowed players to break into parts of the map that were previously inaccessible. Now, since this allowed players to break into places they weren't normally supposed to be, it was quickly discovered that you could fly a pelican. By calling in a vehicle from a forward operating base and quickly saving and quitting, it would deload the pilot and you could get into the pelican. This means the player was invulnerable with the strongest air vehicle in the game. And this strongest air vehicle is important because it could actually bypass the invisible barriers that 343 set in place to stop you traveling to places early. Can you see where I'm going with this? This allowed players to fly away from the main core of the game, the three main islands where the majority of the campaign takes place, and fly right to the end of the game. 343 did not put a check, and they have as of making this video, of what sequence the missions had to be completed in. So if you could make it to the area where the second to last mission starts, it would think you're at that part of the game. Absolutely broken. Now, for a couple weeks, this was considered the fastest way to beat Halo Infinite. It could be done within 35 to 40 minutes, but no, speedrunners found an even faster way. A way so complicated and yet so ingenious. They are some truly talented people. The new strategy was to get all the Spartan cores, exactly like the previous way, but instead of going to get Invincibility, and instead of getting the pelican to break out of the map, a new technique was discovered, displacing your character. It was discovered that if you lured an enemy in a certain location and meleeed the enemy while holding the button to enter a vehicle, it would displace your character and teleport you to a set location on the map. All that was needed to do now was to find the exact spot they wanted to teleport to, and the speedrunners discovered that it required 2 teleports, one to midway through the game and one to the very end. On screen are the teleports as shown, and once performed, you can't move your character. It is completely stuck there. The trick to it was once you reached the location, it would pop up with the new mission on screen, you could restart mission, and you'd be all good to go. This cut 10 minutes off the speedrun, and from initial estimates, this game was going to take hours to complete. The world record is currently 25 minutes, with both runs converging on the final 2 levels. The second to last mission looked kind of like a firefight arena and progress to the next level, and as any speedrunner would tell you, there's got to be a faster way to do this. Now remember when I said the ground pound is going to be very important? This is where it came into play. Instead of having to kill every single enemy in the arena and progressing to the next level, you could use the ground pound of the grapple hook to break through the floor and skip all the way to the end. On screen now is me performing the glitch. It completely bypasses the second to last level and is very fun to do. The only downside is if you mess it up, which means you go too far out of bounds, it will freeze your character, you cannot revert to last checkpoint, and you have to start the whole mission again. High risk, high reward. This would bring you to the second to last boss of the game, and ironically, you could do the exact same thing with the boss. Go back the way you came, go down to the lower levels, and since this final tower is broken up into 2 segments, as soon as you reach the bottom, it will deload the top segment, the game will think the boss is dead, and the level will end. Which already brings us to the end of the game, the final mission of Halo Infinite, and the same strategy was used again. By utilizing the ground pound feature and finding the optimal spot to later clip through the floor, you could ground pound through the floor, travel outside the map. The final mission was a lot more finicky. If you made one minor mistake, you would have to restart, which equaled a lot of runs being dead. Finish it with this beautiful coil launch. It would send you up to the final boss, defeat the final boss, and the game was done. Now I say it was that simple, but to actually find the tech, the discoveries, and the strategies involved took a lot of time, a lot of hard work, but they visually look awesome. As of me making this video, 343 has patched absolutely everything that I just covered. They added a check, so now missions have to be completed in a certain order. Invincibility is gone, flying a pelican is gone, and while 343 was working on major fixes to the big glitches, they only patched certain tricks along the speedrunning route. A lot of speedrunners were very upset when this happened. I don't blame them, but still, to this day, you can downpatch your game, and that allows people to speedrun the vanilla version of the game. So there you have it, guys. That is how speedrunners destroyed Halo Infinite. Some 2 very handy tricks that aren't really in the any percent route, but were in the full game run is again coil launching, but this time you ricochet your character off an object, as shown on screen here at GDQ, as well as a chopper launch by throwing an EMP grenade and getting into the vehicle and hitting boost. It would turn it into a real helicopter. So that's gonna wrap it up for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.